So you're going back to the office at last? Well, here are 7 tips to help you along the way. Make sure you've got a seat. During the work from home time, many companies realise just how expensive building occupancy is, especially in major cities. In fact, many companies use the pandemic as an opportunity to slim their footprint right down. I know the building I used to work in has been closed down. So before you plan your return, make sure you know where you're going. That might sound silly, but now there are less buildings, some companies are operating on a rota system as there just aren't enough seats to hold everybody, should they all choose to turn up at the same time. And as such, your department or team might have an allocated area on a particular floor, but only on certain days. And those days might even need you to book your desk in advance through some new desk booking system. So make sure you've taken care of all those appropriate processes and that you know that when you get to the office, you'll actually have somewhere to sit. Review your commute. And with that potential change in building, you might actually have a different commute than you did before. So make sure you know where you're going and that you're suddenly not having to go through crazy toll roads or other things that you don't want to do on a daily basis. And even if you've got the same building to go to, going back to the office can actually represent a really good chance to take a look at your commute and change things. So visualize your own commute. What did you do during that time? Did you use that time productively? Or did you sit back and relax? What aspects did you like or not like? This reset is a really good chance to change some of the less desirable aspects of your commute. For example, I know there's a 25-minute period in my commute where I actually got a bit lazy and didn't really do anything. And that wasted time adds up. So when I go back, I'm planning to make that part of my daily learning time and build in some reading time there. Or you might want to do the opposite to that and build in more relaxing time. It's up to you. The point is, now is the chance to review and reset, to remove the things you didn't like about your journey and create a more positive experience. One of the sucky things about a commute is just how quickly it becomes ingrained and then it gets super hard to break out of the routine. So use this as the opportunity for a reset and a positive change. Sync with your colleagues. We've already established that there may well be seating challenges for you as you return to the office. Floors may be operating a rota system, and there's no doubt that we'll see a much greater working from home culture. Or at least we'll see employees having a lot more flexibility and freedom to shape the working patterns that they find agreeable. And that's a good thing. But with flexibility comes complications, because going back to the office is intended to replace a lot of what working at home can't offer, namely that face-to-face interaction with teammates and colleagues. And that's cool, we've all missed that, right? But going back needs to be done with some form of organisation. There's no point deciding to come back to the office and then sitting there on your own or with a bunch of people you don't know. This only works if we actually talk to each other and apply some form of coordination. So sync with your team. Make sure that if you're all going to be in for 2 days a week, then make sure it's the same 2 days so you can actually have that opportunity to interact. Sounds obvious, but I know a good few people that are now back in the office and still aren't able to interact directly with their teams as they all come out on different days. So a little coordination goes a long way here. Follow the safety guidelines. This is a simple one. Make sure you're in sync with HR and your workplace coordinator or the person or team that's helping you as you go back to the office. They'll doubtless have some rules that need to be followed, such as mask wearing or even something else. Don't complain, don't resist, just do it. Make everybody's life easier by following the rules. You don't want to be the one that flouted the rules and then gets blamed for a COVID outbreak in your building. So make sure you and your team set a really good example here. Review your workday. Just as the return to work is a great opportunity to reset your commute and change it up for the better, it's also the perfect time to look at your daily routine. Have a look at your day from start to finish and ask yourself if this routine that you've been used to for years is actually the best deal for you in your life. Should you start the day at the same time that you're used to? Maybe it's time to come in a bit earlier or a bit later. Those early lunches. Why not try lunching a little later at a different place? Maybe go for some exercise at lunchtime or use it as a learning opportunity. How about eating healthier or drinking less coffee? Or maybe use it to meet up with friends and colleagues instead. There are lots of daily decision points that over time just coalesce into non-decisions. And before we know it, we're doing exactly the same thing every day to the minute. Eating the same food in the same place at the same time. And that inertia is really hard to break out of. So now this is the perfect opportunity to change things up. You might find things are a lot better with a bit of variety. Take a look at the myriad decision points that you have in a typical day and see what you can change. It might even be fun or lead to a totally new interest. See what you can do. Use it as a career reset. We've spoken about resetting your commute and your workday as things you could consider as you return to the office, but why not take it one step further? Zoom out and take this as an opportunity to reset your career. Is what you're doing at work still what you want to do? Maybe you're full of extra appreciation for your role in the company and now want to dive 100% into the job with loads of extra motivation. Or maybe it's the opposite, and what seemed great pre-COVID now really doesn't seem so fulfilling. So take a step back, discuss it with your manager, explore your motivations, your desires and your plan. What's the next step? Is what you're doing taking you forward on your own mission? Or do you want to change something? Do you want more responsibility? Do you want less responsibility? Some targeted learning? A career pivot? Some time off? Now is the chance to raise it. Get your plan together and discuss it with your manager. I know many people that are now looking at their careers through completely different lenses. It all seems different now we've had a chance to realise what's important in our lives. And you'll find your colleagues doing exactly the same thing. And if you're a people manager, then make sure you're respectful of your employees that now want to address their own careers with you. Make sure you do what you can to facilitate any change they want to make, because it's important to be the one that helps people along their own career paths. And for both manager and employee, it's vital not to be judgmental. Accept people's wishes for what they are and try and help. Just because somebody in your team has decided to reprioritise their career doesn't mean they're any less of a team member. Empathise, empower and understand. And do what you can to help them along the way. And now the final tip. If you want to subscribe to this channel, feel free. If you want to click the like button, feel free as well, or you can check out some of our free Skillshare courses in the description box below. Don't put yourself under pressure. Now this is vital. Going back to the office represents a big change for many of us, and as such can be a difficult time. And I'm sure you'll hear stories of people that have completely reinvented everything they do, squeezing in a session of hot yoga before the day starts and then smashing it and floating home on a magic carpet. Well, if that's not you, don't worry. For many, the return to the office will be exactly the same as it was before. And if that works for you, that's absolutely cool. Make sure you're adjusting as best you can, looking after your mental health and that of your team and colleagues. Go back slowly if you need to, and get back into the swing of things. There's no need to put yourself under any pressure at all. Get back into the routine that works for you and your teams. And if you want to change things up, that's fine. I really hope your return to the office goes well, and I'll see you on the next video, or even this video up here. Thanks for watching.